Welcome back to They Did What? Your social internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story titled, My wife, a 32-year-old female, used my anxiety to gaslight me for 5 years, and she lived a double life with her husband in her home country. And a shout out to Bo for sending in this story. And guys, this story, there's no other way to describe it, definitely a doozy. Holy cow. This is about a guy, like the title said, who found out that his wife for the last 5 years they've been together has been with another guy, who actually she called her husband. And you're going to see this guy's obviously ending things with her, but going through quite the nightmare. But this was more important in the stories, guys, is you're going to see real quick how the signs were there. Absolutely right there, and any guy with a shred of common sense would have ended things with her. But because the guy was very young, because he was like 22 when he started with her, and obviously he let her physical beauty mesmerize him, made common sense go out the door, look what happened. And that'll be a great one to go over here, guys, making the point that for you guys out there, whether you're young or old, I know you have a weakness. Hell, it's happened to me when I was younger in varying degrees. You can't let the physical beauty of a woman make all common sense go out the door. And if you do, you could be really in up you-know-what creek without a paddle. When you see red flags, obvious red flags, you must accept the reality, investigate, and part ways and move on. Because otherwise, if you stay with someone and repeatedly there's violations, red flags, and stuff like that, there's the point where even though they're the a-hole, you have become the a-hole too by staying someone like that, and you can't have anybody feel bad for you when all the signs were there and you didn't do anything about it. So it's definitely a shocking story, but also one that we can all learn from here. So it starts off, says here, I'm 32 years old, and I met my wife, Zina, 10 years ago on a dating app. We hit it off immediately and became official in about a month. We moved together about 2.5 years, and I was originally preparing to propose. Smack! Way too soon, and you'll see why. Everything in our relationship had been amazing through this point, except for her telling white lies to her family and close friends. I figured they could extend to me as well, so I told her I'm not comfortable with the lies. We ended up moving together, and things seemed great. Right there. He said the little lies to her friends and family. If she does that to them, she's going to do that to you. And the likelihood little lies turn into big lies. That's a massive red flag. He should have cut ties with her. However, right after moving, I had gotten suspicions of infidelity that I could not ignore, and it caused massive bouts of anxiety and paranoia. Up until this point, I had been attempting to be radically trusting. In fact, I felt that she had been projecting insecurities onto me up until now. After about a year, I was able to just accept that I would never have the proof I sought after and deleted all the suspicious evidence that I had found. But there was a lot, some examples, mostly from one specific night. So I'm going to stop right there. She has a track record for lying quite often to family and friends. Even for little lies, that adds up. And now all these suspicions and evidence potentially that add up to maybe her cheating, although he doesn't have 100% concrete. Again, what the hell is he doing with her? Here are some examples. She texted a friend saying, I'm a serial cheater, that's why I don't have luck with guys. She texted a guy friend she met and exchanged numbers with that night, saying, my hotel room is such and such number, come on by. I found out she texted this to her other friends as well. She took a towel selfie telling me she's going MIA for a bit to the gym, then a shower, but the picture was actually taken 6 hours earlier. One night she told me she was going to bed, but she actually stayed up for a few hours with friends. When her friends left, they texted her if she made it to her hotel room, and she replied an hour later, telling me she had been video calling me. Not true. Dude, you put all this together, this is a freaking problem. Again, her texting a friend admitting she's a serial cheater, and other things about texting friends when she was away on business, I guess, about her hotel room number. What the... Seriously. She was able to explain away each and every one of these, or just end up saying that there was no way to prove anything, and she had been drinking, but that she never cheated on me. Sure, honey. Eventually, I just let this all go. Smack! Should have smacked me a few times earlier. I guess I'm off today. Dude, she's probably like, this moron. But she lied to me again about a year later when an ex called her to get closure from the past. I'd been fine with this, it's just about honesty. And when I asked who it was, she claimed it was her brother, but I knew it wasn't. Again, she's obviously a pathological liar. I later confronted her with footage from our Ring camera. She started the conversation via speakerphone on our front porch, and only then did she confess. She said he initially reached out on LinkedIn to chat, but she'd already deleted the messages because she didn't want to worry me about it, and it was her private matter anyway. No, she deleted the messages because of something that could bust her. We seem to be able to resolve the above, and after 1 to 2 more years together, four at this total point, I was ready to propose. Smack! Dude, at this point, while nobody should be cheated on and have bad things happen to them, with all this evidence, and you're going to go propose to her, marry her anyway, at this point, anything happens to you is on you, dude. Come on here. 8 billion people on the planet. Approximately half are women. There are a lot of options out there, and yes, there are a lot of bad ones, but still. We talked about it, but now she had anxiety about my anxiety. Fair enough. The narrative at this point was that I had an anxiety problem and needed to handle it. Oh, you're the bad guy. She's a pathological liar. She's obviously a cheater. All these things, all these red flags, and you're the bad guy causing her anxiety. Okay. Nice gaslighting there. I waited 2 years while she didn't make any progress or attempts to resolve her own, and just decided to propose anyway. We did talk about it before, and I felt like we were on the same page. But apparently she was still surprised and not really ready, though she did end up saying yes. Dude, a woman that loves you, number one, isn't going to do all these things you described, the lying all the time and cheating, and would be very enthusiastic to marry the guy that she loves, you know? In fact, if she wants to marry him, she'll be bugging him all the time about it. Where's the proposal? And dropping hints and stuff. Not this. Well, for cultural reasons, she asked that we not make it public yet. And we actually never shared engagement photos. Yeah, sure, pal. Maybe because something else is going on, hint, hint. I asked if she would post about it on Instagram and at some point, but she ended up just deleting it for her mental health. She actually hasn't posted me at all in over 2 years. You're the guy she's going to marry, you're engaged to, and she's not sharing with other people. Again, in the era when women share everything, especially the attention-craving ones. Come on, man. I mean, this guy, was he born yesterday? Throughout years 4 through 10 of our relationship, she insisted on taking 2 international solo trips per year, as this type of travel was part of her identity. I tried my best to support her. I even read up on the solo travel subreddit to try and understand the mindset more, but it caused anxiety to resurface. Dude, smack. She's gone away by herself because she's going to be up to no good. Why do you think she doesn't want to go without you? Are there no other women that this guy can get? She acted strange around changing dates. She went to specific places which we had planned to go together, and she would act strangely while traveling. Only video calling me outside the room, going radio silent for hours, making weird excuses for things. My God, this bonehead married her, and then this bonehead doesn't lay down the law with her. No respect for him. Only obviously with this guy to have for his resources and all. Eventually, this caused me to have a panic attack, and I took responsibility for my anxiety and decided to get medicated for it. I really wanted to try to be the best to support her. Smack! You're going to drug yourself for having a natural reaction to obvious things that are going on? Yeah, it's real smart. This followed through us very slowly planning our wedding over 2-ish years, then finally having the wedding in early 2025. You idiot. It was amazing. We did argue a decent amount, and she still seemed caught between her American and Middle Eastern cultures, but it felt normal, mostly normal. I wanted to support her through her identity crisis. I'd even been learning Arabic for the last 9 years for her and her family, then finally, almost exactly 1 year into the marriage, it all came crashing down. And now he's going to get into D-Day here. Dude, it's been crashing down since probably your first freaking date. She's probably in the bathroom on your first date texting some other guy. Well, on D-Day, we were in the middle of a family trip and changing from an Airbnb to a hotel. I was on the Airbnb reservation, so I received the review for us from the host and clicked on it. It took me to her profile and was a good review. But I then saw a recent review from one of her solo trips, and it referenced how great guests Zaina and her partner were. Partner? What partner? I thought it was a solo trip. You mean Zina's cheating? No. Well, my heart dropped. I tried to use my anxiety tools to stay calm, but I knew I wanted to talk with her about this. I did just simply ask her, and she said that she was always saying that she always says that during her solo travel as a woman for safety purposes. Oh, for goodness sake, she has an answer for everything. I wanted to believe it, but I also asked to see the messages from the Airbnb host. She handed me her phone, which I took as good sign. She said that she even paid the $20 a night extra guest fee so she could get extra towels. But she must have forgotten that they require an ID verification. And right there, I saw a photo of a man from her home country. Shocker. Big giant shocker. Now, this should not happen to any guy. And, but come on here. This guy married her, stayed with her all those years when all the signs were there, even taking anxiety medication, drugging himself against something he knew was going on. I mean, this guy, like I said before, and I mean it, he brought this shit on himself. At this point, I don't feel bad for him. But he needs to end it, for God's sakes. She started nervously laughing, saying, "Oh, actually, that's funny. It's a friend of mine, and I wanted the extra towels." Sure, honey. I asked her why not just send mine or my brother's passport, but she didn't have an answer. She demanded her personal property back, but at this point I told her that she wasn't getting her phone back. I knew that if I was wrong, however, that our relationship would extremely suffer, but in my heart I knew. Well, it was about fucking time he acted like a man. Sort of. I hadn't snooped through her items since that one single incident years ago, and the narrative was that I had anxiety and trust issues, and had to spend time rebuilding her trust in me. Man, this guy's a fucking idiot. She demanded my phone then, which I immediately took out of my pocket and gave to her. She went right back on demanding her own phone back. I told her that I would look through it with her next to me, or I would leave. She kept trying to grab it, so I ran out of the hotel room door, got in a rental car, and locked it. Oh my God. Drama, drama, drama. Some guys they're drawn to it. Over the next 15 minutes, I searched the man's name on the passport in her text, WhatsApp, and her photo app. Screenshots appeared of her secret relationship with him dating back 5 to 6 years. Damn. 5 to 6 years with this guy. Now, here's the thing. Do you think this guy knows about this dude here and telling the story? And here's a record of the things this guy found. Him sending her flowers when she was away on a work trip, saying, "I love you, Zina." Him sending her shirtless pictures and her screenshotting them. Her work calendar saying, "Call X" during her commute. Then sexting, "Just the tip isn't enough. Then I will slide my you-know-what in." She sent him money and packages on more than one occasion. She had been texting him recently as the month prior, and she had visited him on one of her international solo trips 2 months before our wedding, during which she bought her wedding dress. Yeah, this guy's just purely her lover, and he probably has another chick someplace else too. Now, obviously, she's a piece of garbage, and it's over, but still, my God, man, how dumb can you be? Well, I confronted her back at the room with her sister there to mediate. We were taking a weekend's couples trip together. Her sister also cheated on her husband for several years with several men, though they are trying to work things out and rebuild trust. Oh, for God's sakes. See? Pay attention to who your girl hangs out with. I wrote down the things I found on her phone and got my own hotel room for the night. Well, good. Dude, it's time to leave. Go back home and divorce the harpy. And grow a fucking brain. The next morning, we each had a solo session with our couples therapist, who she'd lied to for years. I thought you were on vacation. How are you having a fucking therapy session? But okay, maybe you got back home that day. I don't know. And then we had a talk together where she can try to explain away her big mistake. That's a pretty big mistake, honey. She tried to explain certain details, like they never had SCX because he's a religious Muslim man, and wanted to wait until marriage. Yeah, sure, they never hooked up. There's evidence to the contrary that they did. It should be noted that I'm white, a white American, and she had extreme compartmentalization and never loved him. That she just needed to explore the other side of her dual cultural identity. She told me that she ended it 1 or 2 years earlier, and she never meant to hurt me, and they barely even touched. She totally meant to hurt this dude. I'm sure she enjoyed it. I'm sure they laughed at it. And they didn't touch? Okay, sure. I got a bridge to sell you. I left after and flew home early to be alone. Okay, so he left. So what's this with the fucking therapy session? Maybe they did it through Zoom or something like that. Well, once home, I booted up her old laptop, which stopped working in 2024. However, I just had to boot into safe mode and delete a few files via the terminal. And then there was enough storage space to start up again. This laptop also stopped syncing with her iCloud in 2024. Well, she deleted her iMessages with him every few days, but I found 3 days worth in July 2024, 6 months before our wedding. They call each other husband and wife. Oh, God. There was a photo of her kissing him, and my heart was broken and went from broken to shattered. She called him her sexy husband, her naughty lover, and her everything. He called her Marty, Arabic for my wife, which is what I called her. And she also called him Habibi, which she also called me. She offered to buy him a laptop, phone, or tablet on Amazon Prime Day. She offered me a toothbrush. Well, maybe it was a good maybe it was an electric toothbrush. During this time, we were sending out our save the dates, and she was finding every reason to stall. Man, she is the scum of the earth, and so's her sister. But all the signs were there for this guy. Well, this is it. I found texts between her and her dad asking him to speak to the man. This is tradition for getting married in her country. In 2021, there were texts to her brother that said to not post me on his social media in case the other man was watching. He was a family friend. He was living in my house for free while keeping this secret from me. Her entire family kept this from me because they all at least knew that he was pursuing her. We paid for all their flights and half of their hotels to attend our wedding, and they didn't have the decency to speak to me like a brother or son-in-law. Good God. So clearly, she was benefiting from this guy's finances and resources. Good God. And her family's a bunch of scumbags, too. Looking forward, I suppose that's mostly the end of the story. I hope so. I'm fucking dying here. It was literal years of deception. Years of making me question my gut and gaslighting me into extreme anxiety, which I'd otherwise never had in a relationship. If anything, I was naively trusting coming in, and that it's what I wanted to model my relationships after. It wasn't just cheating, it was a massive betrayal. She claims she ended up before the wedding. She claims she was never married, even though they call each other husband and wife. And she claims they were never sexual. But I have no reason to believe anything she says. Well, thank God, bro. It's about time here. God's sakes. In fact, I just recently found that she had continued speaking to the original guy that I was worried about way back in 2019, the start of the original anxiety. She had him saved in her contacts with a woman's name and deleted almost all their texts. She said she didn't even get his number. Dude, you can't believe a damn thing she says. Get a fucking divorce, or maybe an annulment because it's been a year or under a year or something like that. As much as my heart is absolutely shattered, it still yearns for the wife that I thought I had. Smack! Don't even start. Who you thought she was, she's a con artist, dude. You were scammed. But guess what? You also allowed yourself, when all the signs were there, that anybody with a shred of intelligence could figure out. Now, he did start with her when he was 22. He was young, maybe didn't have the experience, didn't have a role model. This is why guys need a role model and a male mentor to tell them reality. It's been exactly a week since I found out. No relationship is perfect, but I thought ours was enough. What do you mean you thought yours was enough? You were convincing, you were deluding yourself, man. My heart searched for any way to forgive and trust her, which likely feels crazy given the intensity of the betrayal, but I didn't see any of that in her, I just read it. The Zina I knew would never do any of these things. Smack! Yes, she would, because she did. She loved me. No, she didn't. She wrote me love letters and gave me sweet Valentine's Day gifts. No, she gave you sweet nothings. That's what she gave you, dude. But regardless, my brain knows it's over. Yeah? Does your heart know that? There's no recovery from this, or for us. I hope she gets help, as she is remorseful and regretful, constantly sobbing and acknowledging that there is likely some mental or personality disorder that allows her to pathologically lie to others and one she loves, but I can't be there to get her through it. Oh my God. No surprise, she's crying her eyes out, figuring she'll cry enough and get this guy to come back to her. And now she's blaming some mental issue or something like that because that's why she lost. Maybe she does. You never know. But it seems like everybody has a label nowadays to excuse their bad or awful behavior. But I don't give a crap. Okay, she's a rotten person. And I guarantee you, she will do this to the next guy and the guy after that. But it doesn't have to be him. Now, this guy, my heart rate has gone up substantially here listening to this and reading this. I'm sure yours has too. But what can we learn from this? The second there are signs, pull your head out of your ass and wake up to reality here and deal with it. Someone that does a lot of little lies, they're going to do it to you, okay? Amongst many other things. And when there's all these signs of cheating or shady activity, you must, aside from paying attention to them, use that information to help you. Otherwise, you're going to wind up like this guy. You know, now he's 32 years old, and he certainly has the ability to bounce back in life. But my God, man, why put yourself through that? And this is why I read these stories, guys. And lots of stories I cover are entertaining as hell, and they're holy crap, you know. But still, a lot are painful. But you got to hear this and not be this guy. The problem is that so many guys, one, they don't have a role model to teach them these things, or two, they convince themselves that this physically beautiful girl, they basically all common sense goes right out the door, right out of their brains, if they have a brain, because they see this physically beautiful. I want to emphasize physically beautiful. Not beautiful, but physically, not on the inside. And that's it. You know? And boom, this happens. Now, is this going to happen with everybody? No. But this can happen. So we can learn from him by not letting the physical attributes make all common sense go right out the door. And all the signs there. My God. But thank God he's ending it with her. I do believe he's ending it with her. And I read in the comments and things he was saying he's doing that. But my God, she's definitely going to work him like you wouldn't believe to get him to not do that. And even when he parts ways with her, if this guy doesn't learn from his mistakes, there'll be another Zina down the road that's going to scam him as well. But holy crap, man. All this time she had this guy. I mean, none of you are surprised. I wasn't, but holy crap. So I do wish this guy the best. We can learn from his mistakes. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.